Hey everyone, I hope you've had a good week, being able to maybe relax, spend some time with some loved ones. It was just Lunar New Year and Valentine's Day, so I just want to wish everyone a little late happy Valentine's Day and happy Lunar New Year. I know for me, I feel a little bit bad because I kind of forgot that it was Lunar New Year and I almost forgot that it was Valentine's Day. If you've been watching my vlogs, you might know that I've been a little bit stressed out in the past week and things have only just started to wind down for me this week. It's Wednesday evening as I'm recording this for a video that's supposed to go out tomorrow. So hopefully I can get this all together tonight. But I thought it would be kind of nice to do sort of like a drawing session because my past two vlogs have just been about preparing for a shop update, the chaos that ensued after the shop update, like organizing my studio, and I actually haven't really done that much creative stuff recently. So I actually took some time yesterday to actually paint some traditional work, which I haven't done in weeks. I guess basically what ended up happening is I did all of Birdfest through January, so basically drawing a bird every single day, then had a huge shop update at the end of January, and then have been just consumed by packaging for the past like 2 weeks. And usually it wouldn't take me that long to pack that much stuff, but it was kind of a combination of two things. One, so I still do work full time, so I had to pack all those things in the evenings. So I didn't have as much time as I usually would, like I did last summer. And two, I ended up getting a lot more orders than I thought I was going to, which is fantastic. But when you're not ready for it, it can be a little bit overwhelming. And that's kind of why it took me so long to get all the orders out. But I am happy to say that I am finally caught up. I'm supposed to, or I'm not supposed to, but I plan to do another shop update at the end of February, which would actually be, I think, next weekend already. But I don't really know if I'm going to be ready by then because I'm still waiting for some things to arrive. And I kind of don't want to scramble for a shop update. I mean, I say that now, but we don't know. Sometimes I get like the fire to do a bunch of stuff, but as of right now, I am feeling a little bit burnt out. So it was really nice to just be able to paint. So I have had this kind of idea in my mind for a while to paint on these little wooden slices I have, which I've done in the past, but I kind of thought it'd be fun to do more of these little like motivational slogans, stuff like that. That's kind of what I was going with this. So I started out just like by sketching some ideas, and then later on you will see me actually painting on the wooden slices using just some acrylic paint. But I thought it'd be kind of nice to talk about, or I guess because I often talk about my business on here, and I think it's really interesting for other people to kind of hear the journey I'm going through in the case that, I don't know, other people also want to start a small business. I've learned a lot in the past month and a half or so. Since the beginning of the year, actually. So like I've mentioned before, like this shop update was bigger than my previous ones just because I have tried to start scaling up my business. But at the same time, I realized I'm starting to encounter some kinds of growing pains, really. Some things I didn't really think about very much as somebody who was just kind of doing things on the fly before, running my business on my own, which I still mainly do, but I have gotten some help, which I'll talk about later. I would have thought that by now I would be like kind of in the swing of things, more experienced, know what I'm doing. But as I scale my business, I'm encountering new problems. And that's kind of like what I want to talk about today. I don't know. These are the things that are currently happening, and maybe they're interesting for you if you're somebody who wants to start an art business later on. I think it's important to probably start from a little bit before, like a little bit of history of what I was doing before, because if you don't know where I'm coming from, it's kind of hard to see what it was then and what it is now. So if you're new here, I just want to say hello and thanks for joining. But if you didn't know me last year, or if you've just kind of discovered me recently, I'm an artist who currently lives in Sweden, and I have an art business that I do on the side alongside my full-time job. So I am kind of balancing a full-time job and a part-time job, which is my art stuff. I mainly do like little accessories and stationery, so kind of like pins, stickers, notepads, sometimes like jewelry and stuff like that. And I actually started out making everything by hand. last year, or most of last year, what I was doing is I was doing like some commissions here and there. And then on shop updates, what I would be doing is I would make actually a lot of things like to order. I don't really know if everyone knows this, but I make all of my stickers currently at home. And what I had been doing in the past is I was actually cutting stickers depending on what people were ordering. Like I didn't have like a set of like 30 stickers set aside. Like if somebody ordered PP the Pigeon stickers, I would cut PP the Pigeon stickers and then pack that order. And it's starting to be kind of unmanageable to do that because first of all, it's like quite stressful to just be making things on the fly when people ask for it. And cutting stickers does take time. It's not like a fast thing. So when I was having to make lots of different kinds of stickers, it was just very, very stressful to make sure that I got them done on time and then I got them sent on time. So that's what I was doing before. I was also doing commissions and customs every now and then when I had time. But since then, or since this year, I've officially stopped doing customs and commissions, mainly for two reasons. The first reason is that commissions are really, really stressful actually for me. There's that pressure of making sure that, you deliver something that the person is going to like and enjoy. And at the same time, like there's a second reason why I don't do it as much is I always undercharged for commissions, and then I felt really bad always charging more. And so like overall, doing commissions were just very, very stressful. So that's something that I have stopped doing just to save myself from the pressure of doing it. Yeah, that's like something I had been doing last year as well. Also, kind of going back on like making things to order and doing stickers and customs like that. Previously, I was making everything handmade. So I made all of my stickers at home. I even made all my backing labels. All the packaging was done by hand at one point. Like I was cutting my own boxes. I have like a YouTube video where I spent like an entire afternoon just cutting boxes for my packaging. And just thinking about it now, like I have a little bit of PTSD because it took so long. And while designing one packaging box is really fun, it kind of loses its charm when you have done it 20 or 30 times. So I stopped doing that. There was even one point where I was like stamping my own tissue paper because I really love the idea of having custom tissue paper, but can't bring myself to actually order it. So I was like hand stamping all of my own custom tissue paper, which looks really cool, but was really time consuming. And the reason I guess I'm bringing all this up is because the biggest thing I'm learning from trying to scale up my business and trying to grow a little bit is that as you scale, time becomes the most valuable thing that you have. I mean, this is of course true regardless of whatever size you are. Like no matter what size you are, if you're a small business or a large company, time is the most valuable thing. But as somebody who runs a business by herself, like I run my business by myself, time has become the most important thing. And time has just become such an important part of how I just manage not just my business, but my life really. Because I'm realizing as I get older, you can always make more money or do other things, but the thing you can never get more of is time. And as someone who runs a business by themselves, this has never been more true for me. So I'm always trying to find ways of maximizing my time doing things like that are going to help me grow my business. And it's not to say like I am completely profit driven like that. I don't know if that's my goal. I don't think that's my goal, because the reason I do my art business isn't really a money drive thing. It's definitely a like work of passion. Really, everything always just comes down to time. So I would say like these days, my time is basically broken down into spending a lot of it doing marketing. And when I say marketing, I mean kind of like managing social media, managing my Patreon, my Instagram, YouTube. I was trying to get into TikTok. I think I got burnt out on TikTok and then just kind of forgot about it because I got so busy. So I'm gonna try to get back on TikTok. But like marketing and outreach had become a really big thing for me for like my business. The other part of my time now is going into researching basically new products I have been actually wondering about and hoping to do, but now actually putting time aside to like figure out how do I make those new products. And so like, yeah, taking time to like do my research, learn new things. And when I mean learn new things, it's just anything from like how to better edit my videos, how can I make a podcast, because that's kind of something that I've been thinking about, and I kind of want to make this one into a podcast. I don't know if it will be, but we will see. And also just like other business things like taxes. Taxes are super not fun, and I have to spend so much time trying to figure out taxes. So yeah, it's just like finding ways to, it's not even finding ways, but it's like just trying to manage my time so that I'm not wasting time. And I feel really bad because I have often felt guilty in the past week about wasting time. And I think this is a new thing actually, because I think this is the consequences of being so pressured in the past 2 weeks, that now that I'm slowing down, I feel like I'm wasting time. And that's just simply not true. Like, we all need to take a break and slow down. And I need to remind myself of this too. And actually the thing I feel really guilty about is that when I set time aside yesterday to do these paintings, I knew that I was going to be doing these paintings, and it was something that I had been looking forward to for a really long time. But when I was painting them last night, and I hate to admit this, but I felt guilty because it was taking me so long to kind of like fiddle with this and fix this thing, and then like all messed up. Like, oh man, I could be like doing this art digitally, but there isn't as much, I don't know, it's just like different when you're actually painting something physically as opposed to digitally. That's a whole other topic, but I felt guilty that I was working on these art pieces and it was taking me so long, and I felt guilty about feeling guilty. It's a very, very vicious cycle. It's just really interesting because now that I am learning to scale my business, or like looking at how to scale my business, I'm now encountering just like new problems of how to manage that. These are just kind of things that I guess that I'm going through right now, and maybe might be interesting for people who are considering having a business of their own later on. And I actually don't know, like maybe other people don't experience this the way that I have been. I'd actually be really interested to hear if you felt this pressure before, so do let me know. Maybe I'm not the only one, but that's how it has been for me. So like, I kind of just like want to touch on just some other things that I've learned managing my time, scaling up my business. The other factor of it is like also money, which I've mentioned before, right? Because of course, like, it's not about the money, but money of course makes things easier, and the profits also help you expand and do other things. So now that I am able to bring in a little bit more income, I can start thinking about doing like bigger things, like maybe doing like mugs in the future, or merchandise that's like textiles or something like that. Like things that I wouldn't have been able to do before. And like these are the things that I can start considering now that I am starting to widen my product line. As you get bigger, these things just become more complicated. And I mentioned earlier, like taxes. So now that I am looking at having a bigger shop, having more products, also having multiple sources of income. So I just got monetized on YouTube, which means I'll start bringing in a little bit of money from YouTube. I have some income that comes from Patreon, and just like having these other sources of income just complicates my taxes, because like they're taxed differently. And I live in Europe, so we also have to consider like VAT, which is a different kind of tax that isn't in the US. I guess I'm getting like into like the nitty-gritty of tax things, but it has just become more complicated for me as I handle more expenses and more income, or more streams of income, really. One thing that I have done is I have finally gotten an accountant, which I had mentioned earlier. And as somebody who is running a business, like having an accountant is the best thing ever, because like at first I was kind of really hesitant because, you know, an accountant isn't free. Of course, I have to pay my accountant. But the thing is if I want to have a business that functions well and not have to worry about getting fined later on, like I am going to need somebody who is an expert in how to handle the taxes, how to file them, and how to just manage that and teach me how to manage that. It's kind of like something that I cannot avoid, and it's something that I'm gonna have to pay for. And honestly, since getting an accountant, having somebody who can help me guide through all these like different tax rules for different countries has really helped me feel a lot less stressed, because that's something that is just not on my plate anymore. Like I can kind of give that work to somebody else, let them figure it out, and then I can focus on the business part of my stuff, the art stuff, the creative stuff. So that's just like something to think about for anybody who wants to have an art business. I think at some point for most people, having an accountant is going to make your life so much easier so that you don't have to stress out about that thing. Then continuing on that money track and talking about like expenses and income. So even though I'm bringing in more income, the flip side is that I now also have more expenses. So that doesn't just mean like more expenses in that I have to invest more to produce more things, but even just having to pay for things like better subscription plans for like certain kinds of apps. So I mentioned before trying to streamline my shipping process, and I'm lucky enough to have a partner who can help me streamline that. But if I didn't, I would have to pay like an app on Shopify to help me streamline this stuff. And that's like another expense. Whereas before I would just kind of do everything by hand. But as you scale, doing everything by hand just becomes unmanageable. So paying more money to help you manage your time, going back to the time thing. And then, just like you have just like more expenses as you grow. Like a really good example of this is my mailing list. So I use MailChimp right now, and I have been monitoring my mailing list very, very closely because the second that I get over 2,000 subscribers on my mailing list, I'm gonna have to pay for a paid version on MailChimp. Under 2,000 subscribers to my mailing list, I can use MailChimp for free. But once I hit 2,000, once I have more than 2,000 subscribers, I'm gonna have to start paying for MailChimp. And that's something that I never thought of before. It's something I didn't even know about, that every subscriber costs money. And like for me, at least right now, it's not too bad. But I imagine that really big companies or just really, really popular artists, even once they hit like, I think 10,000 or something like that, that price range to get this mailing list done through MailChimp like skyrockets. It goes up so much. And I've seen that for all kinds of like apps, all kinds of like websites. Basically, it kind of comes down to like how many things you're making each month, and then that's how they determine how much they're going to charge you. So like that's just like another thing to think about. Like even if you scale and you're making more income, the flip side is you're going to also have more expenses. So like it's the combination of having to pay for more things to maintain stuff, to streamline stuff, and like taxes. Like, oh my god, it's really become a lot, guys. And yeah, I can hear myself talking about it. It's like, oh my god. It's just been a lot of learning of like how to manage my time and also like save money and streamline stuff. And like a lot of it is just kind of like biting the bullet. Like you have to pay these expenses. There's no way out of it. But the other thing is also just like getting help for these things. So the thing I'm having to do now is just basically find ways to simplify things for myself so that I'm not as stressed out. Because I think that while as fun as it is to be able to make everything by hand, it just isn't really manageable in the long run. And it really loses its joy when I have to cut like 100 stickers and my printer breaks, which actually happened. The Epson is still broken, guys. I have to send it now to like a place in another city to get it fixed. But yeah, the Epson has actually officially broken after 2 weeks of use. I don't even want to think about it. So like, I guess what I'm learning now is that it's really important for me to really, first of all, get help where I can get help. So things like getting an accountant, asking my partner to help me with some of my shop stuff has been really helpful. Also, I have recruited family now, so I have my sister helping me with logging my expenses and stuff like that, which thank you so much, Rachel. But yeah, it's like recruiting help. While I didn't want to do that for a long time because I wanted to do everything myself, and maybe that's like a control freak thing. But getting help has really helped me. And it's okay to ask for help, and I need to remind myself of that. The other thing is also like getting help manufactured. So it was things like when I got my wooden pins made somewhere else, that was a huge help for me. It alleviated so much pressure and stress, and I shouldn't forget that feeling as somebody who wants to have like a small business. and do lots of different kinds of designs because I really like doing a lot of stuff. So I guess I kind of just want to sign off with saying that as you scale, as you grow, your time just becomes so much more valuable, and it's okay to ask for help. And it's also okay to take breaks, which I've actually allowed myself these past 2 days because I needed it. I needed to recharge. And I think that in such a fast-paced world where we're always trying to do things, always try to be productive, and I'm definitely a person who's guilty of this, of like trying to always maximize my time, if you can't tell already. But I have finally reached like a burnout this week, which is the first time I've kind of had that in a long time. And like I needed a reset. I needed to take a step back, and I need to also remind myself like that's okay. And I guess this is a reminder also for you, like if you've also been on full throttle, nonstop working, just remember like, you know, it's okay to take a break. If you're not feeling creative, that's fine. If you just want to take a nap, that's also fine. Which is why I made a take a nap little painting. If you can't tell, these paintings that I'm making are totally my mood right now. Like just like keep on going, take a nap. This is fine. You got this, yeah. The like motivational things. I apologize if this was like a little bit scattered, but I guess a lot has really been going on in my mind, and I tried my best to formulate it into something that's kind of comprehensible. Anywho, I think that kind of wraps it up. It's been a crazy couple of weeks. I'm supposed to have another shop update next weekend. We'll see if I get there or not. But this is a reminder to myself and to you also, like, you know, if it doesn't happen, it's okay. It is okay. Anyway, I think I'm gonna wrap it up there. I still need to edit this video to get out tomorrow, which is funny because I was like just saying, oh, it's okay to take a break, but I need to get the YouTube video out tomorrow. So I'm gonna just sign off here, say thanks for listening and hanging out with me. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two. If you are also a small shop owner, let me know if you have any tips for how to manage stress, how you manage your time, how you find ways to save money. Any kinds of tips are super helpful for not just me, but for anyone else who's listening. So, yeah. So I want to say thank you. Take it easy. Keep on creating. And just remember, it's gonna be okay. Thanks, guys.